Okay, I'm back. Hopefully, I'm not echoing. I think I was echoing last time because I had my mic up twice. I think. Devil Child, say something so that people can possibly hear you. I hope to God they can hear you.
Hello.
Please tell me you guys can hear him.
All right.
Okay,
Said they hear. Said they heard me.
okay. I apologize for that.
Woo!
Um, that was a really, really dumb mistake on my part. Uh, we're not even gonna go into that because we spent enough time uh, troubleshooting here. So I apologize for the technical difficulties, but you live, you learn, and I learned something really important tonight when it comes to OBS and streaming. So, anyway, that's one way to break the ice, I guess, for you, Devil Child. How are you doing
Yeah,
tonight?
doing pretty good now that everybody can hopefully hear me.
Okay, good, good. I'm doing good now. So yeah, this is my friend Devil Child. I've known him for a very long time, and we game together a lot. We've both been playing Zombie Army 4 lately, and I wanted to have him on here for the podcast. So yeah. So what have you been playing, Devil Child? Let people know what you've been playing, what you like, what your favorite thing in gaming is. Just talk about anything, really, man. Anything gaming related.
I mean, pretty much recently, just been playing a lot of Need for Speed Heat, trying to get the platinum for that. Pretty close. Playing Zombie Army 4, really close to the platinum on that already too, and just chilling on some PUBG at night.
I would like to get the platinum for Zombie Army 4 as well. Sounds like you're well ahead of me in there in that regard. But so like, what are your what types of games do you like really? Like, what do you find yourself playing most often?
I mean, my favorite series is Uncharted, but that series is over
Oh,
with,
that'll
so I'm
go
hoping
down
for
well here on
something.
this podcast.
Hoping something new comes up soon, kind of like within that adventure genre.
I hear you. I think we will be getting something new. Believe it or not, from Uncharted. A lot of people believe that the that series is done with, but I think Sony San Diego studio. They're the ones that make the MLB baseball games. Apparently, they have another studio, like a secret studio, that apparently is working on some type of continuation for Uncharted or something like that. So, what do you think about that? Would you be excited for an Uncharted 5 or an Uncharted spinoff since it's your favorite series?
I'd be okay with a continuation uh, with it, see where it would go.
Okay. Yeah, me too. All right. Well, we have some pretty good topics. Before we get into it, was there anything else important that people need to know about Devil Child before going any further?
Not really, man. Just here to live life and play some video games.
You know what? I think we can all get on board with that. So, all right. We have some good topics. There was a lot of. I don't know if we could say there was a lot of PlayStation news specifically. I mean, there definitely were some big things that happened this past week, and we're definitely going to be discussing them on tonight's show. But there was actually a few interesting things that came up kind of outside the realm of PlayStation, but still gaming related, that I think it's going to make for some interesting conversation. So stay tuned for that. But the first thing we're actually going to start with here has to do with the PlayStation 5 price point and how Sony actually talked about this, and it was a pretty big thing that I think people were paying attention to because when it comes to the next gen consoles, obviously, I know you're looking forward to them. The big thing is people want to know how much are they going to cost. Price is going to play a huge role in that, and so during Sony's, I think, most recent earnings call, they talked about the price, but they pretty much said that they're not ready to talk about it yet. They're not ready to talk about how much this thing's going to cost. And a few things they mentioned was, one, they mentioned competition being a factor in that. So they're basically saying, look, uh, we're in a competitive space. We are paying attention to what our competitors are doing price wise, and they also, and this is what's also interesting to me, they mentioned that they're willing to sell the console at a loss. I mean, that's what they heavily implied. And so I guess my question, Devil Child, is like, how much are you expecting the PlayStation 5 to be, and how much do you want it to be, and how much are you willing to pay for a PlayStation 5?
I think it's going to be $399, just like when the PS4 came out. But I mean, I'm willing to go up as well as 5 or even 600, but I don't think it would get that high.
Definitely not 600, right? With the PS3. So you're thinking it's going to be like a $399 console, not a $500 console?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about $399.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about that is I think for so long we've been fixating on a $500 price point that I think we do maybe lose sight of the fact that Sony really does want to sell a lot of these things. And even though most hardcore gamers are easily like, yeah, man, I'll pay 500, no problem. You know, like people like me and you, like you said, you'd even be willing to go up to 600. I think people need to remember that Sony, you know, they've stuck to a $400 price point, like you mentioned, since the launch of the PS4, even with the Pro, that if they can sell it at a loss to get it down to there, you know. So here's another question: how much are you expecting the Xbox Series X to be? Because there's a lot of people who are going to tell you that it's going to be a more powerful console than the PS5. So what are you thinking about that?
I mean, I think it's going to be just like how it was way back in 2013. It's going to be a $499 price point probably.
But with no Kinect?
No, hopefully not.
Yeah, that was a situation, right? Could you imagine if we were in like a different time right now and they were getting ready to announce Kinect 3.0 with the Xbox Series X? Real quick here, James C. I appreciate that super chat. Says, Yo MBG, have you checked out Maneater yet? And I can confirm, James C., that I have checked out Maneater, and it's interesting. I have to say, it's Devil Child. This is a game where you play as a shark, and you just literally go around attacking humans as a shark. I mean, it's like Jaws, the game. It seems like that. Based off of what I saw, I didn't watch it for too long. I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but I can confirm, James C. I mean, would you play a game like that, Devil Child, with shark eating game? Like,
definitely. I mean, I played a game where I played as a slice of bread, so I would definitely
yeah.
play as a shark.
What was that game? I Am Bread? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shark, Mr. Hamster says Shark GTA game. All right, so when it comes to Sony talking about the price, it's weird because Sony's in this position where they have not been talking about next generation very often at all, and people are absolutely dying to know more. They want anything, you know. And I run a PlayStation centric channel here. I've been covering pretty much all of the rumors, all of the leaks, and I can tell when people are reaching that point where it's like, are we going to be getting anything? Do you think, like, when do you think Sony's going to actually finally come out here and talk about the PS5 and have that big event, right? Because as I told you before, like in 2013, that's when Sony had their original PS5 event. Do you think they're going to do it this month? Do you think they're going to wait till a later time because they're coming out here saying we're not ready to talk about the price? What are they ready to talk about? Are they ready to talk about anything yet?
I mean, I was hoping for something this month, but hopefully this month or next month, since we know they're not going to be at E3.
Right. Well, personally, I'm thinking they are still going to do something in February. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. I mean, you think they would have announced something by now, but I don't know, man. Like, do you think they could push it to like March?
Oh, definitely. I think they might be waiting for Xbox to come out with something too.
What do you think? Okay, so do you think that based off of Sony's comments here, they're absolutely not going to announce the price until Microsoft does?
Yeah, I think so, because that's how they're gonna get the advantage. Because I think, I don't think it's gonna be quite as powerful, to be honest, as the Series X. But that low price point that they'll get in there will definitely put them in the lead.
Right. Okay, real quick here, we have True Witty. Appreciate that super chat, buddy. Say, Henby G finally caught you live, looking good. Yeah, awesome. I appreciate you showing up. I'm glad you can be here. I also have Spider-Man. Appreciate the super chat. Say, I really think that the Xbox Series X reveal threw off Sony. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to bring up here, Devil Child, because the Xbox Series X was revealed, I think it was the last week of December during the Game Awards, which last time I checked, that's absolutely not a place where these companies go to reveal their consoles. And it caught people off guard. It caught me off guard, and everybody was like actually really excited about that. So what do you think about Microsoft's like unorthodox strategy? Like, do you think that they're just like, we don't care what Sony's doing, we're just gonna do our thing when we feel like it? Because obviously we're gonna talk later on about Phil Spencer's comments, but I don't know, like, were you caught off guard when they announced it, or were you just like, whatever?
Yeah, I was definitely caught off guard. I wasn't expecting anything next gen for a while.
So you think do you think Sony's actually scared? Do you think they're scared of Microsoft or they just, I don't want to say scared, maybe that's the wrong word, but do you think that they're like, well, Microsoft's out here being more aggressive than we expected, now we have to kind of like rethink our plan? Or do you think that Sony's just chugging along doing their own thing?
I still think they're waiting to see what Microsoft's going to come out with for a price point. I'm going to stick to that.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about this topic for just a little bit more here, because I noticed that for the videos I made this week, this video in particular talking about Sony coming out here, they're talking about the price point. People seemed really interested in this, and you mentioned that you think the PS5 is going to be slightly less powerful than the Xbox Series X. So you firmly believe that? You think that that's going to be a thing? Well, obviously,
Yeah.
Is that something that you care about? Like, as a
honestly, no. It could cost the same as the Series X and be less powerful, and I would still buy the PS5.
Right. So I think I mean, to be honest, I think you might be right, dude. Like, I'm the more I've been thinking about it recently, because I've talked about it a lot. I've been talking about it a lot on the channel here. We've been covering all the rumors, and we talk about specs. And I try to tell people that that power doesn't matter when it comes to these two consoles going up against one another, but it matters to the point that people just want to feel like if they're going to upgrade to a PS5, whether it's $400 or $500, it's really going to be worth it. Like, and I do you agree with that? Because I mean, you're saying like you'd still buy it even if it was less powerful at 500, but like when it comes to the next gen consoles, like, are you expecting that massive leap forward? Like, would you be upset if it wasn't as massive of a leap as you're expecting?
With being next gen and an entire new console release, and it's probably going to cost more. I would hope it would be a massive jump. Otherwise, we'll probably see another PS5 Pro, if you will, that's going to come out a couple of years later. And like we want something that's going to be there for the next couple of years. We're not going to have to upgrade again.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. We don't want a PS5 Pro. Elios 24/7. Appreciate that super chat. You say the Series X $500 with Halo, Hellblade 2, Forza 8, and Fable 4 coming near the launch, or will be a launch title, and Sony being the same price might be able to compete hard at the start of this generation. So I guess you're saying that you believe that the Xbox Series X, with all of these games possibly coming in at around the same price, could pretty much compete on a higher level than the Xbox One has this generation. I'm inclined to agree there. I mean, Devil Child, me and you, we're both Forza fans, like Forza Horizon fans, and we can expect probably Forza 8, Forza Motorsport 8, probably at the launch of the Series X or around the launch. Hellblade 2, we don't have a release date yet for. I think that looks great. That's going to be coming. I don't know when. Probably definitely not. Probably definitely. Does that make sense? Definitely not at the launch. And then we have Halo Infinite. That will be at the launch. And Fable 4 is an interesting one that I'm going to be paying attention to. I don't think that's going to come near the launch. I think that's actually going to be like a holiday 2021 title. But I do get what you're saying here. Like, what do you think, Devil Child? Do you think games-wise? Because that's the thing he's highlighting here. He's basically saying that they're going to be able to compete at a higher level with Sony and the PlayStation 5 because they're expected to have more games. Are you expecting that, and are you looking forward? Are you going to buy a Series X to play Forza 8?
Oh, I mean, I definitely want to. Yeah, I would love to play Forza 8. I'm a huge Forza fan.
What's your favorite Forza?
Probably Horizon 2.
Horizon 2. I think I did play Horizon 2 actually. I didn't get into Forza Horizon until 4, honestly, but 4 I really got into. I think I got like all the achievements for it. But did you play that did you play the Forza Horizon 4 Lego expansion? I think that was a thing.
Yeah, I did check that out. That was actually really cool.
Okay. Yeah, I have yet to play that. All right, well, here just because I'm curious to know, you said Forza Horizon 2 is your favorite. What about that one did you like better?
The car list was a little bit different because as time goes on, they start to pull cars out, and then they realize people still want them, so then they add them as DLC again, and you got to pay for them.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Just the car list, really.
This guy, Spirit Bomb, says, bruh, Forza has the best drifting, bruh. I have to agree, man. Like, that, I had such a hard time mastering drifting in Forza, but once I did, it was like, I think you had to help me with that, actually. I think I remember you were helping me try to get an achievement or something. But I'm losing track here. Getting back to the topic at hand here, I don't know. I guess to end this topic, I think that the PS4, I'm in agreement with you. To be honest, I think even though a lot of the rumors are pointing that the PS5 is going to be like slightly more powerful than the Xbox Series X, I don't know if that's going to be true or not. I mean, to me, there's a lot of signs that are saying that because of how much Microsoft cares about it, they want the Series X to be, they want it to be just the most powerful console, right? And I could see a situation, like you mentioned, where Sony comes in with a slightly less powerful, not just slightly less powerful PS5 for $400, but then Microsoft has that $500 Xbox Series X. And then this brings up one last thing before we move on from this topic, which we have to discuss, is the Xbox Lockhart. Now, are you familiar with Xbox Lockhart? Do you know what this is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about that? Like, what if they introduce that? How do you think that'll impact the PlayStation 5 or this whole dynamic?
Well, I think they're doing that to compete with whatever PlayStation's going to put as their price. That's going to be their entry-level Xbox, being maybe it's as powerful as the PS5 or not. I think that's going to be their way of being able to release a console at a lower price.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I actually, that's what I'm anticipating. Like, the interesting thing about Xbox Lockhart is there's been like a lot of reports that it's real, and then there's a lot of reports saying it's not real. And what's interesting is Phil Spencer actually went on record saying that they don't really have any plans for anything like that. But of course, if they're trying to hide those plans, if they're trying to hide those plans, they could very much just be like, look, we're not doing this. And he could lie, is what I'm trying to say. Like, he could just straight up lie about it. If he wants it to be a surprise, he could just lie about it. You know what I mean? So I think you may be correct here. I think if Xbox Lockhart is a real thing, it's something we will see Microsoft trying to match the PS5, but I have a feeling if they do it, it will be cheaper than the PS5. But we have True Witty here. Again, appreciate the super chat. He says, I think this is Microsoft's last console, the Series X, knowing Phil Spencer doesn't want to compete in the console space, plus Sony trolling Xbox with a logo reveal shows they aren't afraid. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, I don't know how long Microsoft plans to be in the console space, because we know that their focus is on other things, really services and stuff. And the thing is, I'm not saying that Sony isn't focused on some of these things as well. They are. But the question is, to what extent? We know with Microsoft, it's to a very great extent, right? Like, Microsoft's banking with the future of gaming being cloud gaming. And I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to agree with that. I don't want to say that the Xbox Series X is going to be the last console, because believe it or not, even though I may not be the biggest Xbox fan by any stretch of the imagination, that would be terrible for competition in the home gaming console space. And Devil Child, I know you're like me. You grew up playing on console, right? So it's like, how, like, is that something you want? Was that something you would want to see? Would you want to see Microsoft stop making consoles, or would you be happy about that?
I mean, I don't think they're going to stop as time goes on. Technology is going to get greater. They're going to have to keep releasing. It's not like a PC where you can just open it up and, slap in a new video card.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't want to see console gaming like the traditional way. I don't want to see it go away completely, obviously, but I also don't want to see it take such a back seat. Like, we'll talk more about this later. True Witty, you're probably going to want to pay attention when we talk about another topic here, because we got to move on here. We have a few more topics to go over. But yeah, to finish this off, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the Xbox Lockhart, because if they come in with that thing at $300 and the PS5 is $400 and then the Series X is $500, could create a very interesting dynamic there. And it'll make you wonder, like, how much would people care about a $300 next-gen console, knowing it's going to be significantly less powerful, graphically speaking. But moving on from that, we're going to get to another interesting topic that I want to take some more time here to talk about. Phil Spencer going on record saying that Sony and Nintendo are no longer their Xbox's main competition. Their main competition now is apparently Google and Amazon. But before going into that, we're going to acknowledge our good old friend here, Mr. Hamster. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. You say, perhaps coronavirus is causing PS5 to delay since China is producing the console, but I think people's health is more important than gaming. Well, I have to agree with that. It's definitely, gaming is a hobby. Human beings and their well-being comes first. I agree with that. And Mr. Hamster, we're actually going to talk about that topic to a greater degree later on. We have that as one of the main topics to talk about, so appreciate that. Getting back here, though, Phil Spencer talking about Amazon and Google. Google? Yeah, Google. He's talking about the cloud gaming space, Devil Child. Do you believe in cloud gaming? Do you believe that is the future of gaming?
Not really, man. I don't really want to stream a game on my phone when I'm out and about. If I want to play a game, I want to be at home, just chilling out.
Yeah. What do you think, like, do you agree with Phil Spencer when he says, I mean, he's basically saying that the reason why he looks at Google and Amazon as, like, their competition is basically because he believes that Google and Amazon, they're basically trying to capture, and he literally said this, dude, 7 billion gamers. There's that 7 billion market. Like, last time I checked, 7 billion, that's about the same amount of people that are actually on the earth. So, my question is, if these 7 billion that he's going after, right, and Google and Amazon are going after, where are they? Why are they not here now already gaming?
Like, I mean, what, like Google's console apparently?
No,
Or the
so
streaming?
basically the question I'm trying to raise here is, well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about, I would have preferred Google released a console, but they released Google Stadia, which is a streaming service. So, like, you literally can't buy a console. You can only stream it, right? So for somebody like you, that's not how you want to game. That's already out of the question for you. But what I'm trying to allude to here is if you have a company like Microsoft, Phil Spencer, he's in charge of Xbox, he's sitting here saying that he's not worried about Sony or Nintendo, because you know what Sony and Nintendo are worried about? They're worried about selling consoles. And of course they're worried about selling subscriptions and services and whatnot, but that comes after the hardware sale. Phil Spencer of Xbox is saying that they're not worried about that because they just want to sell their cloud service. Like, they want cloud gamers. And so, would you agree with me? And you let me know, because I'm curious to know what you think of this. What would you say to me saying that I firmly believe any person that Phil Spencer's trying to go after with cloud gaming, like he wants them to game on their phone, like you said, and game on like a tablet or whatnot, they're the casual audience, and they don't care about the gaming experiences that we care about. Like, you see us playing Zombie Army 4 in the background right here. They don't care about games like that. They don't care about games like Uncharted. Like, do you see a problem in that?
Not really, man. But the whole streaming thing, I don't know. I can't really get behind it. The whole cloud.
What's the biggest reason you wouldn't want to do cloud gaming?
I mean, I like physically owning my games. So, I mean, if you buy it on the cloud, when you're done with it, are you going to be able to sell it, or let a friend borrow it, or do anything like that with it, or are you basically just renting it?
Well, you're definitely not going to own it. I
Yeah.
mean, Google's made it clear that you don't, as far as I know, you don't own anything. But, all right, yeah, dude, I'm the same way. Like, I'm not interested in cloud gaming. Like, I honestly feel that cloud gaming is potentially going to pave the way for even like an even worse gaming future, where there is no ownership, more live service games, more free-to-play games, more microtransactions, because, like I said, they're going after an audience that they're just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to say that I think if Microsoft were to appeal to like a billion gamers suddenly, obviously, at that point, anybody who buys an Xbox is going to take a back seat, because that billion gamers, that's volume, that's sheer numbers. If they, these are people where their gaming experience is done on a phone. Like, I just don't think they're going to care about AAA games. And I think Microsoft would eventually become, and Google and Amazon, they're going to become aware that this audience, these people, they don't care about gaming that way, right? Like, they're just, I don't know. Maybe people call me a fearmonger, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, I guess, yeah, it's all good. Devil Child, this is his first time being on a live podcast, so cut him some slack here. He's doing his best. It's expected. But all right, my last question to you is this, Devil Child, with this topic. So Phil Spencer comes out and he says, "Look, Sony and Nintendo, they're not our main competition going forward. Google and Amazon are, and we're not worried about Sony and Nintendo." Do you think that's like disrespectful? Do you think he's like demeaning them a little bit? Because I've seen a lot of people be like, it's easy for him to say that because Xbox is currently in third place. What do you think? Do you think he's being like a little bit demeaning there?
Yeah, he's probably trying to poke a little subtle fun, just like Sony did back at 2013 about how to borrow games during that whole E3 press conference.
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if Phil's right, because I think that I think Phil is trying really hard to appease the upper management in Microsoft, and the upper management has made it clear that they are, they're not really interested in the console gaming space as much as they're just interested in being a cloud business. Can't blame them. But let me see. Somebody says here, Star-Lord, 1, you're not the target audience. 2, console is still here. 3, hundreds of millions are on mobile. For Microsoft is targeting regions Xbox is available. Well, I mean, yeah, those are all great reasons to back up the idea of a cloud gaming future, but I don't know, man. Like, I know I'm not the target audience. I don't expect to be, obviously, but do you see that right there alone makes me annoyed because I'm like, maybe I'm selfish, but I like the days better when Xbox was just worried about me being their target audience because I'll spend a lot of money on gaming, man. I'm passionate about it. They just have to give me something good, worth buying. Console is still here. It is. You're right. I can't fault that. You're absolutely right. And I don't think it's going anywhere, hopefully. Hundreds of millions are on mobile. I don't know, man. Like, I need to know why those hundreds of millions are not supporting hardcore gaming. Why are they not buying AAA games? Why are they not buying God of War, Spider-Man, The Last of Us? Why are they not playing Halo, Gears, and Forza? I need to know. I need that question answered. Because me, it just tells me they don't care about those games. Definitely not enough to pay for them. And you say Microsoft is targeting regions Xbox isn't available. And yeah, you're right about that. Okay. So, moving things along here, we're going to talk, and this is a little bit of a different topic, but I think it's an important one because it's definitely a big deal. If you're somebody who cares about Rockstar Games, you're going to have to pay attention to this. Now, Devil Child, I'm going to be interested to see what you have to say about this because I know that you're a big fan of like Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar Games and stuff, and it's going to create an interesting conversation about the future of Rockstar Games. Before getting into that, though, Elios247, you say, whether Microsoft thinks Sony and Nintendo aren't their competition, Xbox fans and every other gamer see Sony and Nintendo as their competition. Yeah, I think that is an important point to point out here before we move on. It is worth mentioning that, yeah, people who are involved in Xbox, like fans, people who have been involved since the beginning or picked it up during the Xbox One generation, they do see it that way, right? And so it's going to be a little bit of a weird transitional period to see. It's already been weird seeing Microsoft shift from that, but do you have any final thoughts, Devil Child, on Phil Spencer and what he said here? Are you ready to move on to
Nah, man, I'm ready to move on and talk about some Rockstar stuff.
Okay, me too. So apparently Dan Houser, a co-founder of Rockstar Games, absolutely massive influence on all Rockstar games. Obviously GTA, I think he's been the writer on the GTA games, Red Dead Redemption games. Obviously there's multiple writers, but like he's like, one of the main writers. And his influence in these games is absolutely huge. He has a brother, Sam Houser, who also works at Rockstar Games, and these are like the two biggest creative forces within Rockstar Games. Like, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't see Grand Theft Auto, we wouldn't see Red Dead Redemption, we wouldn't see games like, Bully and whatnot. And so it was recently revealed that he's going to be leaving Rockstar. And Sam Houser, his brother, is staying. And so something else that is worth pointing out here is this is the second major figure within Rockstar that has massive influence on their games that has left since the release of GTA 5. Some of you might remember that back, I think, in 2014, Leslie Benzies, he's actually another huge creative force there that had, huge impact on the GTA series. He actually left a while ago to form his own studio. Now we're seeing Dan Houser leave. And so, Devil Child, what I want to bring this conversation to is when you talk about GTA 5 specifically, you look at GTA Online, which I know you have a lot of experience in, but I know you have a lot of experience with Rockstar Games in general. How do you feel about this? Like, are you afraid that this is going to impact the future of Rockstar Games negatively, specifically like with GTA 6 or the next Red Dead or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. He was such a big deal in all the other games that going forward, if GTA 6 will definitely probably notice a big presence not being there of his part of writing into the game or whatever it may be.
So, like, are you a big fan of the the single player stories from the GTA games?
Yeah, I'm real big into the single player. I played all of that before even getting into the multiplayer.
Okay, so you do think it's going to have an overall negative impact?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So you've spent a lot of time on GTA Online, and as a lot of people know here, you know, we like multiplayer games, of course, but we're huge fans of single player. And in today's gaming landscape, it seems like it's much more appealing for companies to just try to create live services. If GTA Online wasn't as successful as it is right now, do you think we would have seen GTA 6 by now?
Probably. I mean, dude, microtransactions, they're making a killing off of that.
Yep. Yep, that's the sad reality. So, do you think there's a chance that Dan Houser maybe left because he's like, look, I want to make games, you know, and Take Two Interactive, the parent company that owns Rockstar Games, are like, well, we're aware that you want to make games, but we want to make money, and GTA Online is making a lot of money for us through microtransactions. Do you think that that could be a possibility why he left? Because
I
that's what
mean,
I think.
yeah. Yeah, I think he definitely probably wanted to start making more games and they didn't want to release them just yet or even start making them yet. But
And my last question on this topic, um, that I'm wondering about is how is this going to potentially influence GTA 6? Do you think that he already has an imprint on GTA 6? Because I mean, surely that game's had to be in development, right? Or do you think that maybe they're having development problems and he's just like, I'm out, like creative differences?
no, I think whatever he might have done hopefully sticks and hopefully we get to see that. But I mean, yeah, I definitely don't. I definitely do think that it won't have that same feel that GTA 5 had
Right.
throughout the whole game.
Like that kind of like it just has that. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Throughout all of the GTA games, there's just been this kind of like, just kind of like footprint there where like you recognize it and you know like, okay, this is like a Dan and Sam Hauser game. I think that they're a little bit underrated in the industry because they're not talked about as much, but yeah, I think people need to, if you're a fan of Rockstar Games, you definitely need to pay attention to Dan Houser leaving Rockstar. That is a huge deal. Apparently, and this is where I'll end it, apparently Take Two Interactive says that they don't expect any other major figures, but I guess they're trying to like point to Sam Houser. He's not going to be leaving. He's going to stay. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But all right, here. Moving on, I want to talk about, and this is another one that's just like a regular gaming topic here. I mean, not technically I mean, it is PlayStation related, but apparently a new Batman game is in the works, and if the rumor is to be believed, it's going to be a reboot. And this is the most interesting part, in my opinion. Apparently, it's going to kick off a new DC game universe, like a shared universe similar to what we see in the movies with Marvel and DC, what they've tried to do. So we know that DC has had a little bit of a struggle with the movies, being able to keep up with Marvel. Do you think they're going to have better luck with with a shared game universe? Like, does that sound cool to you? I mean, I don't even know if you're into these games or not.
I think that sounds really cool. Hopefully they have the Arrow. He's definitely my favorite, DC character and, TV shows like The Flash. So hopefully they do something on the lines of that, kind of like how the new Avengers game is coming out soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does sound like an awesome thing, and we know that Rocksteady, they're the ones that have made the Arkham Knight trilogy. They've been quiet for so long that whatever they're working on is huge. But we also know that they have like another team that I don't, and that's what I don't know. I didn't look into it enough, but I don't know if it's Rocksteady creating this Batman game that's rebooted. I don't think it is. I think it's the other team, which then that makes me wonder. I don't know what Rocksteady's working on, but I would love to see DC actually like find success in this area because I agree with you. Like, I'm not the biggest Arrow fan, but I'm just a fan of DC in general. I like Batman, obviously, and it would be really interesting to see how they could shape kick it off with like a Batman Arkham game, and then within that, there's just this entire universe that they're going to start trying to flesh out. You could see a Superman game, Flash game, Justice League game, everything they tried to do with the movies, basically just see it in game form. I think that could be a huge success for DC, honestly, and it seems to me like they're going to be kicking it off with next generation, which gets me even more excited because you're probably going to see one of these games, launch not too long after the new consoles launch. But so you would love to see an Arrow game specifically?
Oh yeah, I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd play like anything pretty much that they would release. We know we have that Avengers game coming out at the end of the year. It got pushed back to like close to the end of the year, like September. Are you interested in that Avengers game at all?
Yes.
Me too. Yeah, I think it's getting a little bit of a bad rap because I think people think it like looks a little bit too basic, but I don't know. I mean, to me, it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to be paying attention to. I like the fact that it's co-op too. You don't get too many co-op games anymore. At least it feels like you don't. But all right, so moving right along here, we're going to be talking, and this is going to be an interesting one because I know that this is something that a lot of people are holding out hope for when it comes to the PlayStation 5 specifically, and that is backwards compatibility. And we're not just talking about PS4 backwards compatibility, we're talking about full-blown backwards compatibility with PS4, PS3, PS2, and PS1. And so where this information comes from is during, I believe, an earnings call with Ubisoft, their CEO mentioned backwards compatibility. And, it can be taken multiple ways, but I've seen multiple articles written up that they're saying, look, he could very well be talking about full-blown backwards compatibility. He puts emphasis on console generations, or consoles, I should say, and I made a dedicated video to this. It was pretty short, but we have been talking on this channel for quite a while now about backwards compatibility with all generations, and it's been like rumored, but there hasn't been anything. Would you be how would you feel about that? Like, how would you feel if when Sony comes out and officially announces the PS5, they're like, hey, you can play all of your games. Like, you can just straight up put your PS3, PS2, PS1 discs in, or you can buy them from the store. Would that be something that you would be excited for, or do you really not care too much about it?
I definitely think it's cool, but I mean, I still have my whole collection from PS1, 2, and 3. And even when the PS5 comes out, if it's going to do that, I mean, my collection is still honestly just going to sit there. I just want to play new games.
Right.
Yeah,
to be fair, I think that there's a lot of people who share that mentality. Like, for as excited as we do get about backwards compatibility, I've seen a lot of people express that they just like they don't care. I've asked the question before on the channel, like, how would people feel about full backwards compatibility? Like, is it like make or break, or is it just like something you really hope would be there? And for most people, it doesn't seem to be a make or break situation, which, that's what makes me think that I think Sony's aware of that. Like, I think Sony is aware, and most people, rationally speaking, are aware that if Sony doesn't have full backwards compatibility at the launch of the PS5, most people who are interested in the PS5, I don't think they're just going to be like, well, I'm not buying it now. Because like you said, people do buy new consoles to play new games, but do you think it would be, do you think it could potentially propel, marketing-wise, if this was a confirmed feature, this could propel the PS5 to like a greater height? Because it's just like, hey, not only do you have these new games, but you can play all your old stuff too.
I mean, yeah, I think that would definitely help sales, and people would be more interested in it, because even though it's a feature that I wouldn't use if I was told I couldn't use my PS4 games, I'd be pretty salty.
Yeah. Yeah, well, luckily we can rest assured that you will be able to play PS4 games. The way Ubisoft's CEO, Yves Guillemot, I guess that's how you say his name, I don't know. He basically made it sound like, you're going to be able to play almost all your games. And so, it can be taken one of two ways. It's concerning to think, what do you mean, like, almost all our games? Are you saying there's going to be some PS4 titles we can't play? Which potentially that could be a real thing due to certain limitations, maybe like certain peripherals or whatever. But if he's I don't know, like me, I don't know which way to take it. It could be one of many ways. I'm going to say he wasn't talking about full backwards compatibility because it just seems like that's just too much for him to just straight up, drop in an earnings call. I think Sony would be pretty frustrated with him.
Sorry.
Let's see here. Nitrous Inex, INEX, whatever, however you want to say it. He says, well, appreciate the super chat, buddy. Do you think the PS5 reveal will happen when Sony feels confident about backwards compatibility? That's an interesting thing you bring up there, because I don't know, like, I think there was a rumor, another rumor, but there was like some talk that Sony is possibly, they possibly delayed the full-blown event and announcement of the PS5 because they don't have everything exactly where they want it to be yet, and backwards compatibility was one of those things that they don't have ready yet. Now, as to whether or not you're talking about having the PS4, all the PS4 games going backwards compatible, or whether you're talking about, all generations, I will say this, and I said this in a previous podcast, I believe. If Sony had to delay the announcement of the PS5 in order to get full backwards compatibility working the way they want it, like they want to make sure that if they announce it, they can actually promise it and not have a false promise, or something like that, then I think that would be a good reason for Sony to wait and delay it. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I've seen a lot of people, or at least some people, say that the way Sony's going to handle backwards compatibility with the PS5 is they're going to rely heavily on PlayStation Now, but they're going to be doing it in a different way. And I don't know what that means, but maybe I wouldn't be super shocked if that ended up being true. But yeah, Devil Child, before moving on here, do you have anything else to say about backwards compatibility? I mean, would you be excited to play Skate 3?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that was a cool feature on Xbox, being able to go back and do that kind of stuff, but I just want to move on and get new games. I don't really care about the whole backwards compatibility thing.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I mean, I do care about it. I don't know. I mean, for me, it would be interesting because there'd be a lot of games potentially that I would go back and play that I haven't experienced, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how fans react based off of what Sony ends up announcing in terms of backwards compatibility. But moving on from that, we have our final topics here. Something I want to mention here briefly, because I don't know, it's interesting, is Activision announces that they are going to have multiple remasters and reimagined titles in the works. They have them in the works. They're going to be releasing something. Obviously, when it comes to PlayStation fans, there's a lot of fans of Spyro and Crash, and so this immediately makes you think they're going to have a new original Spyro game or Crash game, not a remake, not a remaster. When they say reimagined, that's that could be something they imply. It could be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, a new one of those, or a reimagined version of it, or a remaster. But then you also think about Call of Duty, and I know that you are a big fan of previous Call of Duty games, Modern Warfare 2 remastered, potentially Black Ops 1 remastered. So what do you think about that?
I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm just a huge fan of the OG Spider-Man games, and would like to see maybe those make a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
Or be remade.
Man, that would really be stepping on Sony's toes, wouldn't it? I don't know if they could even do that, because Sony, dude, Sony with Spider-Man, I don't know. I don't think Activision could do that, but I agree. I remember that original PS1 Spider-Man game. Is that the one you're thinking of? Because that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really good. That was a really good game. I would like to see that. But are there any other games from Activision? Like, if you had to pick a Call of Duty to be remastered, obviously not Modern Warfare 1, but
Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2. What's interesting about that is there have been rumors, actually plenty of rumors, that that's a thing that's been in development, but they just they only did the campaign. Maybe they decided to do the multiplayer as well. Maybe that's something they'll announce. I'd be down for that. I'd be excited. What about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? Are you a fan of the Pro Skater games?
Yeah, I mean, the Pro Skater games, even if they did Underground 1 or 2, or even American Wasteland, that one was my favorite.
I remember Underground. That was a great game. I love that game.
But if Activision were to do a remaster and maybe even make a new title for next gen, I'd be really down for a new Skylanders.
What? Can you say that again? Skylanders? Come on, man.
Yeah, Skylanders.
Why? Why
It was
Skylanders?
it was just a fun time, man. Collecting all the little toy figures. You
All
even
right,
had
man.
Spyro
I'm gonna
in
have to
there.
kick you off of this podcast now. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No,
man.
I'm just kidding. For anybody who's wondering, he's joking about the Skylanders thing. Anyway, you are joking, right?
Oh, totally no, not kidding.
Oh my God. Well, I can't vouch for Devil Child anymore because this guy is a fan of Skylanders. So if we have, Caleb says my girlfriend loves Skylanders. Skylanders is. You have some people here that like Skylanders, dude.
Yeah, that would be a really cool thing to do. And
This dude isn't a real gamer. I agree. I
hey,
agree.
man, it was a great game. And then even Disney Infinity. I know that's not Activision, but that was a pretty good game too.
Dude, please, you're hurting me right now.
Are we still live?
We're still live, unfortunately.
Okay.
We're still live, so I don't know, man. Like Skylanders was a weird thing. That was like a trend that you saw like all the companies jump on, and then they were just like, okay, we're done now because it's not making as much money as we thought it would. But I don't know. I'm sure there are people who enjoyed it, seriously speaking, but I was not one of those people, so I knew Skylanders
you
had
missed out,
one
man.
fan. Bro, this dude is taking my soul with these bad takes. I think he's talking about you, Devil Child.
Hey, man, that's cool. I just he probably just didn't play Skylanders. He probably just doesn't get it.
Well, to be fair, I think as Mr. Hamster points out here, there is an audience of children that do enjoy Skylanders, So, anyway, moving on from that, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Activision has anything brand new in store for Crash and Spyro, because I know a lot of people love those games. They grew up playing them on the original PlayStation, but somebody here doesn't even know what Skylanders is. It's probably best you don't know, buddy. But we're going to move on to the next topic here. And I think Mr. Hamster's going to be interested in this one because we're talking about the coronavirus and how it's potentially going to delay the consoles. Now, Mr. Hamster earlier said that they are more concerned about human life, and I have to agree with that if I'm being honest. I mean, first off, what are your thoughts on the coronavirus itself, like actually impacting? Do you think it's actually going to impact the manufacturing of these next-gen consoles, and it will actually end up forcing both Sony and Microsoft to have to delay the release of their next-gen consoles into 2021? Do you think that that's going to potentially be a real thing?
I mean, it could be. I would hope not. I would hope by the time that rolls around, they have that under control. But because I would definitely like to enjoy my next-gen console without having to be quarantined.
I agree, man. I mean, like that's it. It would be a terrible thing all around because if that were to happen, not only does it suck right off the bat because we have to, wait for, gaming to progress, but if that happens, that basically tells you that like this thing is so serious for the people, in China that they can't even get keep their business running. Like that's how many people are getting sick and possibly dying of that, and it's a real shame. I mean, I don't mean to get like dark here on the podcast, but it's just something that we have to pay attention to and keep in mind. But I don't know. I think it would be a pretty terrible thing all around if that were to happen. I'm hoping it doesn't. But James Cruz, appreciate the super chat. You say, what would sell hardware? A new college football game. And if it was a PS5 exclusive, hands down, it would help move millions of consoles. You may be right about that. I'm not too familiar with the NCAA games other than the fact that I know that there's a pretty large group of gamers who really enjoyed those games. And they definitely, I think, would love to see it come back. So I appreciate that super chat. Unfortunately, James Cruz, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I think that's just kind of like wishful thinking, bringing back the NCAA games, but you never know. I mean, at least with it being exclusive, definitely not going to happen. But you never know. It could come back. Let's see. Mr. Hamster says once again, our Taiwan Game Expo got delayed for 6 months because of the outbreak. That sucks. CD Projekt Red is supposed to show new gameplay at the expo there. Yeah, I saw that too, which is pretty crazy. It just goes to show how it's already the coronavirus is already having a pretty negative effect on the gaming industry in general. I think it's the Taipei. I don't know how to say it, but it was a big gaming thing, and who knows what was going to be there. I know. Okay, one thing. Gotta go on my soapbox here. One thing that was going to be there was Elden Ring. Now, Devil Child, I know you don't know what Elden Ring is, do you?
I have no idea.
Okay, you're not. I know you're not a big fan of like the Dark Souls games or like Bloodborne, but this game, Elden Ring, is essentially the spiritual successor to Dark Souls. It's made by the same developers, and I'm extremely excited for it. And we haven't really heard anything about it. And it was supposed to be shown off at this new show, and it got delayed. So that is extremely depressing. But again, we have to take precautions, right? Like, I think they're doing the right thing. You know, don't risk people's lives over this stuff. It's not worth it. Can you name that car? What was that car that just drove by?
Oh man, that sounded like a pretty tinny Honda Civic.
Okay. All right. Let's see. GameGlaive says, I got no interest in buying ports over and over again like Resident Evil 4. I kept my PS3 plugged up so I don't have to buy nasty PS3 ports on PS4. So I'm assuming that is in reference to the backwards compatibility thing that we were talking about. So we have one person here. Appreciate that super chat, GameGlaive. You definitely, I think, would be happy with full backwards compatibility. Squint PS says, oh, Elden Ring. Yeah, I feel that comment, because Elden Ring is a game that like literally was announced, and it's just like, yeah, this is going to be like the new Dark Souls. It's going to be better, but yeah, just look forward to it. And then like they haven't showed anything or said anything more about it, but it's a game I'm looking forward to, man. It really is. So I think that's pretty much it for the topics we have today. This might end up being a shorter podcast because the truth is, guys, like there wasn't a whole lot of like major news that came out this week. So I think that's it, man. Like the corona, I mean, it's a pretty depressing way to have to end the podcast, unfortunately, talking about the coronavirus, but
I mean, we can bring it back up and go back to the Skylanders debate.
Nah, dude, I'm not trying to talk any more Skylanders. I mean, I can respect the fact that you may like that game, man, but I don't know. Like, I don't want to offend anybody, but come on, man, Skylanders. You know what, let's talk about this game real quick, Zombie Army 4, before we go, because like this game, man, what do you think of it?
It's great. I love it.
I want some details. What exactly do you like about it?
I mean, the characters are cool. It looks like on the screen right now, it's spectating me with my character Hector.
As you go down, which I can't
yeah.
say anything because I'm pretty sure I already died in this gameplay.
Yeah, I fell for the microtransaction on that one. Had to buy it, but pretty cool
Come
character.
on, bro. You're buying microtransactions? Man,
Yeah, man.
This isn't cool.
Dude, they get you, man.
Not cool. As Davey, was that his name, Davey? That's what he would say. What I'm actually trying to do right now, for those wondering, there was an individual on the last podcast who actually donated and did a super chat, and I actually missed it, and I failed to shout them out, and I promised I would shout them out during this podcast, so I hope you guys understand. I'm just trying to find who the person was. They have to be here somewhere, so just bear with me while I do that, because I definitely have to do that, because that was unfair for that person. I think I you know, human error, I missed it, but Okay, let's see here. In the meantime, Edgy Clementine says Xbox One is $499.99. PS4 Pro is sitting at $400. Official price of PS5 will be $500 and sold at a loss. So you think a $400 PS5, $300 Lockhart is bad speculation? I don't think a $400 PS5 is bad speculation, because here's the thing. Well, it depends on how you look at it, because the thing is this, right? Like, if Sony's PS5 is going to be significantly less powerful, like, than the Xbox Series X, there's no way they could keep it at the same price. There's just no way. You can't sell a demonstrably less powerful console for the same price of a console that's going to be significantly powerful, more powerful. Now, I'm not saying that's what the PS5 will be, because we don't know. But I just, if they were to sell, unless, and here we go, unless the Xbox Series X ends up being a $600 or $550 console. Devil Child, do you think that that's a possibility for as powerful as the Series X is supposed to be? Do you think there's a chance that Microsoft could say, we're going to sell it at $550 or $600?
Definitely, yeah.
That's some great input you got there, man. You
That's
got me
man.
thinking, man. I'm like, whoa, definitely.
That's all I got on that one. I mean, I think it's gonna. I mean, with as powerful as it's gonna be, I guess I retract my earlier statement. It probably will be more than 500.
Well, okay. Here's my question then. Do you think if it were to be more than 500, it would flop? Would it flop? Would it floppity flop?
Oh, I mean, definitely, because PS4 or PS5 is going to be way cheaper than that.
I don't know, man. Dude, I saw somebody say recently, with confidence, they said that the PS5 is going to, people who are expecting a $500 PS5 are going to be super disappointed, but, implying that it's going to be more expensive, and I'm just like, what? I'm having trouble finding this person, guys, and it's really bothering me, because I promised I would shout them out. And I can't find them anymore. I mean, I don't know what to do. Do I just wait till the next podcast? Is that the wrong thing to do? But I do have somebody else here right now that says, Solid Crusader 89. I appreciate the super chat here. Says, if coronavirus stays till June, then it's likely the PlayStation manufacturer will move outside of China, according to PlayStation Lifestyle. That's also an interesting thought there. That would still have, it would have some big implications if Sony had to do that last minute. We don't know what those implications could be. Probably nothing good, but that is a possibility. They could decide to move that. But Devil Child, I have a task for you right now.
All right.
Okay, I need you to go on the last podcast, and there should be a comment from somebody telling me that I did not acknowledge their super chat. So I need you to do that if you could, because
I'll try to look that up.
Yeah, I can't find it, and I need to know their name so I can shout them out, and that's all it is. And if you can't, I'll find another way to pull it up. But yeah, that's something that Sony could do. They could decide to just be like, look, we're going to move our manufacturing. I don't know. So we have Alex Fitz. I'm the best. He says he's the best, guys. Alex Fitz. You heard it here first. He's the best. Devil Child, what do you think? Do you think he's the best?
I mean, best at what?
I don't know. He wasn't specific. We don't know. I'm sure he'll respond. He'll let us know what he's the best at. Game Glaive, shout out to you. Say Sony should resurrect the PS Vita and make a PS Vita Pro to combat the portability market. I think people would love that. I think a lot of PlayStation fans would love that. However, I think, I think Jim Ryan basically said that they're not doing a Vita 2. However, what they may be doing, and I think you'd be interested in this, is apparently they're looking into a portable DualShock controller with a screen in the middle. Now, as to whether or not that would natively play games, highly unlikely. However, it's probably something they'll utilize with PlayStation Now. So let me know what you would think about that, because that's something I think Sony, they literally put it in a survey. So it's something they officially, well, we can't say officially because the survey was supposed to be like a secret survey, but it is something they are actually working on. So, yeah, somebody, Mr. Randall says he says he's the worst. But what are you the worst at? I mean, we have these people leaving these weird comments. I don't get it. But, okay, Alex Fitz says, I'm about to donate $1 million. I'd welcome that. I'd welcome that. I mean, who would not be excited for that? Somebody says here, No Sense believes it's going to be a $450 price tag. I could see that if you're talking about the PS5. That would actually make a lot of sense. I mean, if you can undercut by $50, that's going to be a big deal too. Icebreaker 2017 says, hope next gen will have some good multiplayer titles. I'm stoked for the single player ones this year. The Last of Us 2 and Cyberpunk 2077 will be epic for sure. To be honest, Icebreaker, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I mean, I know this is like an unpopular opinion to some people, but I would love to see more multiplayer titles. And here's the big caveat, alongside the single player titles we get from Sony. I would absolutely love to see some more multiplayer, like we heard about a SOCOM reboot or something like that. I would love to see that. A new Killzone, something else original. The Last of Us Online, a dedicated Last of Us Online game. Devil Child, what do you think about that? Are you for or against that?
Oh, a Last of Us multiplayer game?
Yeah, but it's just a dedicated. It comes out, let's just say, like a year after The Last of Us Part 2, and it's just a multiplayer only title for like $30 or $40 or free to play.
I mean, maybe if it was open world, because I wasn't really a fan of the whole Last of Us multiplayer in the first game.
But the factions mode?
Yeah, I didn't really care for that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. I think they're definitely going to have factions in whatever the multiplayer thing is they're doing. But I would love to. Well, here's the thing. We know it's happening, people. Okay, that's the thing. Like, it's not speculation. They are doing a multiplayer game that's just Last of Us multiplayer. Okay, we know that. We just don't know how different it's going to be or how fleshed out it's going to be. But whatever it is, they did make it sound like it's big enough that it warrants, like, it can't be part of The Last of Us Part 2. It's too big. They believe that they can sell it separately. My theory is I think it's going to be a free-to-play Last of Us Online mode that's going to be, it's going to feature heavy microtransactions, but the fact that it's free is going to be the big kicker there. But GameGlaive, you appreciate the super chat once again. You say you're not interested in streaming games to a controller. I don't blame you. I mean, it doesn't sound like the most appealing thing. Like, not until they can really get streaming to, I don't know. It would be really interesting, I think, though, to see what the market would do with that, like how they would respond to a game streaming controller. I mean, that would be just a really interesting thing to see Sony try to do. And then Edgy Clementine here says, PS5, $460 to $500. Don't seeing it being the same as Pro. Well, I mean, I will say this, Edgy Clementine. If we see a situation where Sony and Microsoft both release $500 consoles, and somehow the Series X is, and this is the key word, pay attention to this word, significantly more powerful, then I don't know what Sony's going to do at that point, because, I mean, it'll still do well, but, I mean, it's going to definitely be a bad look for them if that were to happen. So, yeah, I guess I'll just, interact with the chat here for a little bit longer, and Devil Child hanging out here. Do you have anything of importance to say, Devil Child? Anything significant? That's not about Skylanders?
Oh, then no, I don't. I
Wow.
thought it was going to be. Okay. That's where I was going.
All right. Well, we are just going to avoid that conversation then. They would need 5G to literally cover the entire country. Yeah, you're probably right. Isn't 5G supposed to be like bad for you? Like, isn't 5G like bad for you? Like the wavelengths. Do you know anything about this, Devil Child?
Not really, man. I mean, hopefully it's not as bad as like microwave waves,
it's probably that bad. So Mr. Hamster says, "Can I be a guest on the podcast sometimes, MBG?" It depends. I mean, like, do you speak English? I know. I mean, not trying to be. Just because that could. I mean, I'm assuming you do. You're maybe, Mr. Hamster. We're gonna have to see. Clearly, you're a big fan. I mean, I see your profile picture. You got my logo there, so we'll have to see about that, Mr. Hamster. I cannot make any promises, but we will see what the future holds. Either way, I do greatly appreciate your support. And I think people can recognize that there's something pretty cool here about Mr. Hamster. Let me see. Solid Crusader 89. How is Need for Speed Heat on PS4 Pro? Your opinion, please. Second question, has there been any new story chapters in Battlefield 5 recently? Well, Devil Child, you've been saying you've been playing Need for Speed, right?
Yeah, I can jump in on that.
Okay, here we go. We'll let Devil Child answer the one about Need for Speed.
Need for Speed Heat, I think it's pretty cool. It's got the whole daytime, nighttime feature, so you can actually pick if you want to race in the daytime to earn money or night to earn rep. It's pretty challenging. The cop chases are pretty hard, especially if you have the game on hard. And car customization is pretty cool. You can do motor swaps for like the first time in one of the Need for Speed games, so that's pretty sweet. But yeah, I think it's a great game.
How's it run on the PS4 Pro?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, I did get to experience it on an original PS4, and then going to the Pro was a major difference.
Okay. That's what people are looking for, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ran great.
All right. By the way, Mr. Hamster, I'm aware you speak English. I know that was a silly thing for me to say because, like, you're typing in English. So, yes, I know you speak English. Just want to put that out there. But
I mean, it could have been like an auto translation thing.
No. I was just I don't know, man. Like, one thing I've noticed when when doing this is people from all around the world tune in, man, and it's pretty crazy, you know. And I remember playing MGS5, man, and a big theme of that game was like the language barrier, and I'm like, that's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. But but yeah, let's see here. Squint PS. Okay, hold on. I'm losing track here. I want to make sure I can get everybody in. All right. And to answer your question real quick, Solid Crusader, about Battlefield 5, I can't answer that because I haven't played Battlefield 5 pretty much since it launched. So sorry about that.
Yeah, hang on a second. Spirit Bomb, dude, he tells me I should make you apologize, I guess, for the Skylanders bashing.
Nah, you make me apologize?
Yeah, dude.
No. Dude, Skylanders, come on. Fine. I'm sorry to anybody who is a fan of Skylanders. You're allowed to be a fan of Skylanders, okay? Just because I may look down upon it doesn't mean it's any less of a game. All right? Is that good enough for now?
Yeah,
we have Game Glaive. It's all right. Now, if that controller supports PS Vita game cartridges, that's something that would be efficient enough to get people interested. Yeah, that would be interesting, actually. That would definitely convince Vita owners to go buy it, for sure. But it would have to mean that the hardware inside of the controller can run that game natively. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that would pose a problem or not, but that's a good one. Mr. Hamster... Once again, nah, that is just my hamster got a tattoo, man. Well, hey, I support that tattoo. More people should get tattoos like that. Not necessarily if you have pets, don't tattoo that on your pets. Don't do that. But let's see here. Squint PS. May you find your worth in the waking world. Yes. Bloodborne quote. I want to see another Bloodborne game. We need another Bloodborne. I mean, could you imagine if we went the entirety of the PlayStation 5 generation without another Bloodborne? I just can't imagine that happening. I have to imagine at some point it's going to happen. I've seen some people be like, "Oh, I'm expecting I don't know, like a Bloodborne 2 at the launch of the PS5." Like, that's not going to happen. It's just not. I mean, maybe an Elden Ring PS5 game, but we have here Andrew Goods. says, since this will be the generation of exclusive content like the video streaming services are, I think Sony needs to add 5 to 10 studios over the next 2 years at a minimum. Well, I think you may be onto something there, but I think 5 to 10 studios in 2 years, I don't know if that's possible. That's a lot of acquisitions in a very short period of time. And something I think is important to understand about Sony acquiring studios is, and I could be wrong about this, but this is just how it comes off to me, is they seem like they're really specific about who they would want. Like, they're really picky. And I feel like Sony's just kind of like that in general. But I do agree with what you're saying there. The next generation, and especially the generations after that, it's going to be all about content. Content is king. And this is why when you talk about services, streaming services, whether you're for or against them, the truth is the future lies in content and which platform is going to have the best content. And I do think that, having having a lot of studios at your arsenal. Like, the thing about Sony studios is I don't think they need the numbers. Like, they don't need to have the most studios, but they certainly have like the highest quality, I'd say, within the industry. So I definitely agree with you that they need to buy more. But I think they're going to be a little bit careful about who they end up buying. So, let me see here. Could you imagine playing God of War with combat designed by From Software? That would be something amazing. Let's see. All right, here. Subscription wars, not looking forward to them. Really not. Quality over quantity for sure. I agree with that. Elios247, shout out to you, buddy. Appreciate the super chat here. If Xbox is trying to acquire new studios in Asia, who should they get? Well, apparently they tried to get Platinum Games, and that didn't work out. I've seen people bring up From Software for both Sony and Microsoft. I don't think that's going to happen. That's a good question, though. I don't know who they would get as an Asian studio. I think if they were going to get one, honestly, they would have done it by now. I'm not saying they never will, but I just feel like they would have done it. And to be honest, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe the chat can help us out here. Let us know which studios do you think, Asian studios, do you think Sony could, or Microsoft, I should say, actually acquire? Like, what is most likely? I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say here. Appreciate that super chat. We got GameGlaive once again. You say, well, I believe it would work with a system-on-chip level if they tried. The 2018 PlayStation Classic did that itself. Not perfectly still SoC. Yeah, I think you could be right. I will say that it would make Vita owners really, really upset if Sony were to announce a portable DualShock controller that doesn't support Vita games unless you're streaming them. I think, but at the same time, we know how Sony is. They're, they've proven with the PS4. Well, I don't know. Sony's pretty good. I'd say they seem like they're pretty good with backwards compatibility, but with the PS4, it seemed like a really big misfire. So I don't know if they would just, I don't know. I'm just going to be brutally honest here. I wouldn't anticipate Sony doing anything with the Vita going forward. I mean, I think the last time they actually really showed off the Vita was their last advertisement they put for Remote Play, which, that didn't, I mean, I don't know. Like, that's how you treat Vita now, I guess. But we have Christian Rants here. Says, if cloud gaming came to the table from Sony on the PS5, do you think that it will naturally support non-Wi-Fi gaming? For example, you can play GTA 5 or 6 on a plane flight. That's an interesting one. If cloud gaming came to the table from Sony, PS5. In order for that to happen, I believe you would have to download it to your device, if I'm not mistaken, in order to play it natively. And what's interesting about you asking this question is we did discuss how apparently Sony put out a survey where this was one of the questions they brought up. They brought up the question, how would you feel about offline remote play? But that's all they said. They didn't go into it. So, to be honest, I think it's something Sony will end up doing. Devil Child, let me ask you this, because we mentioned this earlier. How would you feel about cloud gaming, but you can potentially, and I don't know how this would be achieved. I'm assuming they're talking about if you can play it on a device that is powerful enough to run the game, but you can natively download the game to that device, so you're not actually streaming it. I don't know. Does that sound weird to you? I don't know if I'm explaining that right.
I mean, kind of like you said about the remote play for the Vita. I mean, I've used it on mine a couple times, but it is kind of.
But that's
It's
still streaming, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, at least I own my game though.
That is
I
true.
do own.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that could be like an interesting way for Sony to approach it. I just don't know. If. I don't know. It's hard for me to have this like, greater view of the gaming landscape when all I can think about is like, I don't want cloud gaming. I want to buy my physical discs. I want my console. And people call me a fearmonger because they're like, oh, that stuff's not going away, man. You're just scared, or you're trying to make everybody else scared. But I don't know, man. You look at these companies and you've seen like some of the stuff they tried to pull in the past. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Okay. We'll keep this going here. Chat seems to be pretty active tonight, I'd say. And Devil Child, you seem to be pretty active in the chat. Platinum got great games. Yeah, Platinum Games, man. Could you imagine if if Microsoft ended up acquiring Platinum Games? The first thing they would be like is everybody be like, look, you got to make Scalebound. Apparently, Platinum Games wants to actually continue making. They want to not continue. They want to finish Scalebound, but they I don't know. Microsoft owns the rights, and they're not gonna. Are you talking cars, Devil Child, in the chat right now?
Yeah, just a little bit. That's what I'm better at talking about. Let me do my thing.
I would offer you to talk cars right now, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we'll probably lose a lot of people at that point.
Well, let's just people that do like cars in here. What kind of cars do you like? And I'll respond to that in the chat.
Devil Child, the car guy. Okay, well, what are your thoughts on Gran Turismo, actually?
I would love to see a new one come out. The new one that's just recently, I think it was GT Sport. Not really a fan of that, man. The whole arcade sim, that one just didn't feel as a planted game as far as like when you're actually driving in the game.
All right, what about Forza versus Gran Turismo?
I would pick Forza every time just because of the customization. I mean, even just the vinyl editor, you get to really show off what's yours.
You want to okay, when you say Forza, are you saying Forza Motorsport over Gran Turismo or Forza Horizon?
I mean, even Motorsport I would pick over Gran Turismo.
Okay. Let me see here, Mr. Hamster. I'll get to your question. Let's see. Okay, Mr. Hamster. I'm just this guy, man. Not you, Mr. Hamster. I'm talking about somebody else. Mr. Hamster, you say sometimes YouTube videos buffer. Do you want to play on cloud? Yeah, I know what you're saying there. Where it's like you have. So most people have a struggle just watching, regular YouTube videos at 1080p or even 4K with a Wi-Fi connection, like a strong one or even wired, and it still has to buffer. So trying to stream games without lag or any buffering, yeah, I don't know. Kid Smooth, why did you block me on Twitter? I don't know, man, because you're always just coming at me. Like I'm just doing my thing on Twitter. I'm trying not to bother anybody, but you're always putting my stuff out there, and I get it. Like you want to comment on it, but I don't know, man. There's just a certain group of people I'm trying not to interact with too much because they just don't seem to like me at all. And so I'm just trying to make life easier for everybody. Game Glaive, you said they want to own their games. Game devs, they want to own their games. They want to have control over us. They're toxic. Gamers, we won't let them have power over us. Well, yeah, I mean, See, the thing is, I don't know if I would blame the game developers. That sounds more like the publishers, right? I don't know. But that isn't it. Yeah, that seems to be an interesting back and forth that continually happens between the game dev and the player. And I don't know, man. I feel like hardcore gamers push back pretty hard, as they should, and we try to keep the gaming industry as honest as it can be. Look at Star Wars Battlefront 2, man. Like, it's the gamer that pushed back on that, pay to win, and, it ended up being a better game for it. Let's see here. What else are you guys saying? Hey, MBG, how are you? Awesome show. It would be pretty awesome to remake 8 Days for PS5. It was supposed to be a PS3 game that didn't happen. What's your take on it? I did hear about that game. And actually, I think that would be an interesting thing. Sony London, is that the studio that I think was working on it? Sony London? I think they've been doing VR with their London Heist game, but I would love to see them try to make like a AAA game, right? Like, I think that's what 8 Days was supposed to be. Devil Child, did you ever hear that game?
No.
But yeah, it looked like a I don't want to say it was like a GTA wannabe type game. I don't think it's fair to call it that, but it looked like it had potential. See, who wants Days Gone 2 on PS5? I do. I definitely want that. Mr. Hamster, make a sequel to Xbox Body Wash. I want to see another MBG video about that masterpiece game. Yeah, dude, that was such a funny situation when that came out, because I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like, and I was just like, I'm going to have some fun with this. How could I not? It's Xbox Body Wash. I mean, where does that come from? It does make me wonder if we're going to see like an Xbox Body Wash like Series X line. That'd be pretty sick.
Is that actually a real thing? Is that actually
exist? It is. It was. I don't know if it still is. Dude, to be honest, I would love to see PlayStation do it and Nintendo do it, because I could make videos on that too. And we could have like Body Wash Wars. Okay? That's the next thing.
Are we going to see who can get cleaner or something?
Exactly. Who can smell better? Who can get cleaner? Whatever.
I'm probably going to pick some Dawn dish soap if I'm.
Dude, I want to see some PlayStation branded toothbrushes. Axe Body Wash. They have like they're like Axe branded. I don't even know what you'd call them. Like their wash tool or whatever the hell they call it. But let's get some PlayStation stuff like that. I think the last PlayStation branded thing I bought was like a Bloodborne T-shirt, which was really sick.
But, oh man, way back, I had a can of shaving cream with a code for Gran Turismo 5 for a free downloadable car. That was pretty cool.
Okay, here's something funny that I want to bring up that's kind of random. I listened to Colin Moriarty's podcast. I know you don't know the podcast, but it's like another PlayStation podcast. And they got a question on one of their more recent podcasts about like smelling like the inside of game cases and whether they do that or not. And I totally related to that question, because it's like I definitely do on occasion. I definitely did when I was younger. And I would just love to see like, I don't know, somebody just like make like a game case scented candle, like a PlayStation branded game case scented candle or something like that. I think that would be awesome. I mean, how many people in the chat here can relate to that game case smell? It just has that certain smell. Really, bro, smelling game cases. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you. And you know why? Because it's nostalgic. Like, when I was younger, I get that, like, new PlayStation 2 game. It was, like, Vice City. I was definitely too young to be playing that at the time, but I played it anyway. And I'm opening the case and I just get this whiff. I think it's, like, the ink that you're smelling. And then, like, that kind of stuck with me. And, when I get it, even when I get a new game today and I can smell it, like, opening the case, I'm like, that's that new game smell. It's like the new car smell, but for a new game. Dude, you sniff game cases? Yeah. I know, I've been outed. That's how you get sick. I mean, it's not like on a weird level. All right, guys, it's not like when I'm done this podcast, I'm going to go sniff game cases for the next 30 minutes.
I don't know, man. I might go sniff my Skylanders case to bring back some memories.
Dude, now that's probably toxic, man. Honestly, that's probably toxic. But yeah, this I think this podcast just totally went off the rails, man. Like we had some good topics, but I have to say the chat does a pretty good job keeping the conversation going. This is why I like live streaming, because you guys do a good job. Let's see. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. PlayStation scented beard oil. Now that's an interesting one. I'd like to see that. Spirit Bomb says, "Bro, make Devil Child apologize, bro."
I think that's a typo. I think he was referring to earlier about you apologizing.
Maybe. Dude,
Yeah.
I already apologized, okay? I tried to be the good guy here.
Yeah, man, no, that's cool. I accept it.
Okay, good. I'm glad you accept it, because if you didn't, that's the only one you're getting, man. PlayStation birth control. All right, now I think that's taken it a little too far.
Nah, man, just go buy an Xbox for that.
Oh my god! Did you even read that guy's name? I'm not reading that guy's name. But it fits what you're saying, though. I get what's going on here. Phil Spencer has got more T-shirts than he's got games. Probably. He's probably got more gaming T-shirts. Like, every time he wears a gaming T-shirt, he's like teasing a future game or something. Make Devil Child apologize for defending Skylanders. You should apologize, Devil Child.
Nah, man, not doing it.
Enter the Matrix reboot. Dude, I'm looking forward to the Matrix 4. A lot of people are really down on that. I know you're down on that. I know you're down on the Matrix. We have a Keanu Reeves hater, guys, on the podcast right now. Yeah, that's right. You stay silent. You don't say anything. I did play Enter the Matrix. You know what game I loved? The Matrix Path of Neo. That was a great game. I remember I played Enter the Matrix, and I was so disappointed. I was like, where is Neo? You got to be kidding me. But then they do it justice, and they bring out a game that's just dedicated to Neo, you know? What YouTube channels with dark humor would you recommend? Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know. But you could probably find a lot of them. Let's see. Path of Neo is fantastic. That should be a remake. Dude, I agree. If they remade Path of Neo, give me that. Oh my god, could you imagine that? So Alex Fitz says Path of Neo is amazing. Alex Fitz, I feel like you are also a Matrix fan. I just get that feeling. What does MBG stand for? It stands for Muscle Bound Gamer. I had somebody tell me that Muscle Bound Gamer, that's some beta stuff right there. I'm like, what do you mean, man? Like, I like working out, going to the gym. I like gaming. It's just a name, you know? MBG, thoughts on Dead Island 2? I don't know. I don't know what to think of it, honestly. It's been up in the air for so long. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to come out eventually. Hey, man, DD, that's what I'm going to call you. I'm not reading your name. And I know you want me to, but I'm not. All right? That's not what this channel is. But he or she says, you going to play the greatness that is Neo 2. I do plan to play Neo 2. I've been having a struggle finding enough time to play games lately, guys, but I promise I'm going to try my best. I want to talk more about games that are, I'm going to be playing on the channel, obviously, whatever PlayStation exclusives I play. So don't worry about that. But I do plan on playing Neo 2. DD, don't worry. GameGlaive, shout out to you. Really appreciate the support on the stream tonight. Would appreciate if you streamed yourself playing the original Final Fantasy VII on PS4 before the remake drops, MBG. Otherwise, you'll be waiting almost 10 years for the full Final Fantasy VII remake. Platinum Trophy 2. I don't know about that. Like, I have this thing with going back to older games. It's such a struggle for me, like, being brutally honest here. I mean, the chances of me going back to play the original Final Fantasy VII, slim to none. Like, I'm on the fence of playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I know that may sound surprising to some people, but I've just never really had much experience with the Final Fantasy games, but I see the hype around Final Fantasy VII, and something that's really important is ever since I really started to re-embrace PlayStation, I've been taking a lot of suggestions from people, and it's really like opened my gaming mind, I guess you could say, to a lot of different experiences, and I'm glad. And so, who knows? I don't want to say it'll never happen, but it might. But I'm pretty certain I'm going to be at least trying the remake. And let's see, True Witty, you say here, Matrix is amazing. Yes, it is. Honestly, I think the Matrix movies, specifically the first one, some of my all-time favorite. I gotta be honest, but let me see here. Let's see what else everybody's saying here. I just have to check something here. By the way, Devil Child, did you ever find that person?
I didn't. I think I remember the last name being Slater though, from the last
Okay,
chat.
yeah, I think you're right about that. I'm gonna have to go actually check. Sorry, chat. I'm gonna have to. Okay, let me get this one real quick. It said Elios 24/7. Appreciate the super chat. Superman game coming soon. Rocksteady. So Devil Child, you mentioned something about this earlier,
Yeah,
and I actually didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, I read about that too when I was reading up on the new Batman game. That it's probably just going to be the Warner Brothers games. That Rocksteady's not going to be the publisher. So
it's not going to. You cut off there for a second. It's not going to be what?
Oh yeah, they're not going to be the publisher. So does that mean that Warner
You mean
Brothers
the developer?
is going to?
Well,
developer, my bad, yeah.
Warner Brothers is the publisher, but you're saying that Rocksteady is not going to be the one developing the Superman game?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, if that were true, then it definitely would make me wonder who exactly would be doing that. Because, I don't know, like, it would have to be... Well, I don't know the other studio. There's another studio. It's not Rocksteady, but there's another studio that is apparently working on a new Batman game. We talked about that as a topic earlier in the podcast, like the reboot they're doing, and I forget the name of the studio. I'm sure somebody in the chat can remind us, but it's another. I think they did Batman Arkham Origins, and I don't know. I think honestly, I would love a Superman game. I mean, we've gotten so many Batman games. I love Batman, and I would love another Batman game, but I'd love to see a really good Superman game as well. I'd love to see a Batman Superman game or Justice League game, something like that. You know, more diversity. WB Montreal, there we go. All right, see, appreciate that, chat. So I think that Warner Brothers Montreal, they're the ones working on this rebooted Batman game, and I heard that Rocksteady's working on a Justice League game, which would be sick. Considering how much time they're spending working on that, if they are doing a Justice League game, it's going to be amazing. MBG, thoughts on Mafia 4? To be honest, I don't have many thoughts on Mafia 4. I've never played any of the Mafia games, but I've been hearing that apparently that's a game that's going to be announced relatively soon. So he says, Superman 64 was awesome. Okay, I need to take a second here because you made me go back in time for a second, and I think I tried to scrub this memory from my brain. I played Superman 64, and that game as a child made me feel stupid. Like, I thought, like, I'm stupid. I don't know how to play video games because it was one of my first video game experiences. I remember, like, my parents had got me an N64, and I was, like, really, really young, and that was one of the games I got, and I was just so confused. Like, I didn't know what video games really were, and I thought video games were supposed to be awesome, but I'm not good at them. And then I find out years later, no, that game's actually just trash. Are the Oscars on right now? Am I streaming during the Oscars? Is that happening?
Man, that would make me feel better because I thought I was the reason why this,
I don't know. See, that's why I did it like later because it was easier for me, and I thought maybe there'd be more people. But are the Oscars on right now, people? Wow. Oh, I'm terrible.
Yep.
I gotta end the stream right now. I'll see you guys. I'm not gonna end it just like that, but wow. Dude, okay, wait. Did Joker win? Because I'm not watching him. You guys are gonna have to keep me updated on this. Because I just watched Joker again last night, and that movie is phenomenal. Devil Child, have you seen Joker?
I watched like 20 minutes of it, man.
Oh my god, get out! I can't. Between Skylanders,
couldn't do it.
Between Skylanders, now you're telling me you couldn't. What do you mean? You know what? I'm not gonna rant. I'm not. To each their own, my friend. Joker won. Are you lying to me? I gotta look this up right now. I can't believe I had no idea the Oscars were on tonight. Just catch the highlights. Yeah. It's probably what I'm gonna have to do. Joker. Okay, Joker's trending. Tell me it won. Okay, I think it was wow. Was it best Joker composer? Yeah, dude, the music in that was amazing. Game Glaive, you say Final Fantasy VII on PS4 is graphically superior to the PS1 version. If you're on the fence about it because of the graphics, check a graphics comparison. No, I believe you. I don't think it's so much about the graphics. It's just about like old game design, and like I don't know. I have so many other games that I'm trying to play, and I'm so limited on time sometimes when I can play. It's just one of these situations where I just don't know if I would be happy, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a tough thing. But I see where you're coming from. I've seen a lot of people say you shouldn't play the remake unless you've played the first one. Plus, you mentioned I'm going to be waiting forever to experience the whole thing. But I think I picked possibly the worst night ever to stream. I noticed that the viewership is down, and maybe that's why it is kind of late here. It's 11, but probably going to be ending the podcast here soon, guys. But I think we had a pretty solid podcast. This is Devil Child's first. We'll probably have him on again. But Devil Child, man, you gotta talk more, bro. You're so cool. You're like you're existing in the chat. But I think we'll probably
get some more racing topics in here, man. I'm all over that.
Yeah, I know. You and the cars. But celebrities talking politics, yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying you should care about the Oscars. I'm just saying that there's probably a lot of people watching it. I don't know. I don't know if viewer count right now is low because of the Oscars being on, or if it's because it's late at night where I'm at anyway. I'm definitely streaming at a different time. But let me see here. Elios 24/7 MVG. I'm going to university tomorrow. Any advice? My advice would be to probably just try to be positive about it. Try to stay positive and have a good experience, and just keep focused on the goal. On the prize. Just remember why you're going there, why you're doing what you're doing, and try to have a good time with it, Try not to stress too much. That would be my advice, honestly. Edgy Clementine says, I think cloud will be a big part of our future, but it's just an extension, cloud. Public railway, console equals private car. They supplement each other. Thoughts? Yeah, I agree with that. That's how it should be, and that's how I want it to be. And that's why I say, I'm not so against cloud gaming that I don't plot twist, Devil Child takes the bus. Okay.
I'm hoping so, man. What's on the bus, though?
I think that's how it should be. I don't want cloud gaming to be the future itself. I want it to be a supplement to what the future actually is, which is tangible gaming experiences. And so if Microsoft and Sony can keep it that way, if we're talking distant future, 40, 50 years from now, and you were to tell me that, yeah, cloud gaming is the deep future, fine. Okay, you're probably right. But I'm not going to sit here and be over the next 5 to 10 years, that's how I want to play games, or even 50. I play in the game for probably the rest of my life. 15 years from now, I still don't want it. I don't care how good it is. Keep it. I want to buy my physical games. That's just how I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm a dying breed in that way, but yeah. All right, man. I hope Joker wins though, because that was a really great movie. So it looks like Best Picture Parasite won. I have not seen that, but I've heard really, really good things about it. I'm gonna have to see it. Squint PS says, hardest From Software boss go. Oh God. Obviously you want to jump to Ornstein and Smog. Smoke, however you say his name. There were some tough ones in Bloodborne. I'm trying to think. What is the blood-starved beast? I think gave me a really hard time. God, there's so many, but I'm trying to. I remember Dark Souls 1. The Capra Demon. I remember that when I first played that battle. That was really tough. But let's see here. Persona of the People. Sup, my dude. Been ghost watching you for a while. I finally subscribed a few days ago. Just wanted to say thanks for doing what you're doing and keep up the great work, my friend. Much support and respect. Well, you know what, Persona of the People? Thank you for that. That really goes a long way, and I appreciate your support. It certainly, anybody who supports the channel, but especially those who go above and beyond, absolutely does not go unnoticed, and I really appreciate it to no end here. And I'm glad you are enjoying the content, and I appreciate your subscription. So thank you for that. And then GameGlaive says, well, I would suggest at least picking it up. There's built-in cheats functionality, plus the game gets monumental later in the story. All right. We'll see, GameGlaive. Again, I don't want to make any promises. You know, I don't want people to think I'm going to do something I'm not, but we'll see what happens down the line. And I appreciate all the support you've been showing on the channel here. Devil Child, you can say that on the podcast, bro. You know,
I can.
You can.
I forgot I had my mic on.
Yeah, dude, you can say that. You don't have to say it in the chat, man.
No, that game really did kick my ass, so I didn't get very far in it because I just kept getting angry at it. It reminded me of like the Evil Within, man. The game's just too hard.
Well, you know, it's a difficult game, dude. It really is a difficult game. True Witty says here, what's your favorite PS4 game so far? I'm going to have to think about that for a second.
I'll jump in and say it was I think it was a launch title, Infamous Second Son.
Really? That's your favorite PS4 game? Because I played that recently.
I think so, yeah. It was a really good single-player experience.
Mine's probably going to have to be... I think Crackdown 3 was my favorite PlayStation 4 game so far.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. You know what I mean? No, but to be honest here, it's probably The Last of Us. It's between The Last of Us and Bloodborne. I can't decide between the two. Let me see. Ohm Alpha, just dropping by. Love your content, man. Thanks, I appreciate that. Elios247, MBG thoughts on Half-Life Alex, however you say it. Valve hasn't made a game in a while, and I hope you have a great day. Well, thank you. I am having a great day, I guess. It's definitely been made better by you guys. I don't know. Honestly, like, I'm not really too into Half-Life. I would have loved Left 4 Dead 3 instead. Absolutely would have loved that, but we didn't get that. And apparently Valve came out and said that they're not making Left 4 Dead 3. Did you ever play Left 4 Dead, Devil Child?
Yeah, I had them on my PC.
Okay, yeah. Did you like it? Like, is it a game you really... So, like, one of your top games, or just like just a game you enjoyed?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, like, going back to the whole Half-Life thing, too, I really enjoyed those. I played all those and the expansions.
Yeah, I played it all, too. And, I mean, when it comes to Half-Life Alyx or Alex, I don't know how you say that, honestly.
It's just Alex.
I was going to say Alyx. I don't know. It just feels weird to say. But, to be honest, I don't have many thoughts on it other than that it's good to see them making another game. I think that's a VR game, right? If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I'm glad to see them making another game. Maybe this means they will, they'll actually make more games in the future. But, yeah, dude, I'm surprised you didn't say that. Uncharted's your favorite series. Uncharted's not your favorite game, though, for the PS4. Would you like the older Uncharted's better?
Oh, the other one? Oh, yeah. Uncharted 2 was probably my favorite. Uncharted 4 was good. I haven't played Lost Legacy yet. I should probably pick it up since that's only like $20 now.
Yeah. A lot of people have been telling me to go back and play the Uncharted games and also play that one as well, but we'll see. Alyx. Okay, I don't know.
Alex.
I'll just say Alex. I feel weird saying that. I'm not gonna lie. I just feel weird saying that. It's a weird name for a game. Um, Joaquin Phoenix takes home the award for Best Actor in Joker. There you go. I'm glad. He won something. That movie was good, man. You should go back and finish it.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it tonight.
You should, dude. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not for everybody, to be honest. Like, I can understand why some people would watch it and they're just not into it, but I'm gonna be curious to see if they make a sequel to Joker, because like, I mean, the game was like, or the game, they're gonna make a Joker game. It's gonna be the most depressing game you ever play. Um, but I don't even know how they'd make a sequel to Joker. But I think people would love it. I mean, it's made so much money for a DC movie that I think they're probably gonna have to some extent.
Yeah, real quick, going back on the Infamous thing, do you think that would be a maybe a new title that would come out for the launch of PS5, like a new Infamous,
Say that again.
like a new Infamous game that would
Oh,
be released with
well,
PS5?
I see. I don't think that's gonna happen because right now, they have Ghost of Sucker Punch, the studio that made Infamous Second Son. They have Ghost of Tsushima coming out, and that's literally gonna come out like literally probably within a couple months of the PS5 coming out. So unless they like handed it to another studio, I highly doubt that's going to happen. But I would love it. And I think a lot of other people, because I enjoyed Second Son. True Witty says here, so out of between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2, what are you more excited for? Well, to be completely honest, I am definitely more excited for The Last of Us Part 2, but my excitement level for Ghost of Tsushima is very high, but definitely it's more so for The Last of Us Part 2. I really enjoyed that first game, and I'm really interested to see what Naughty Dog does with Joel's character and Ellie's character, because I have a feeling this is the last time we're going to see them, and I think it's going to be epic. And I think Ghost of Tsushima is going to be amazing as well. The thing I'm most excited for when it comes to Ghost of Tsushima is the fact that it's something completely new. New world, new characters, new story. But man, I am just, I'm very excited about The Last of Us Part 2. So, yeah.
Oh, hold on, wait, Mr. Hamster, are you excited for the Skylanders sequel, MBG?
Didn't that game get like multiple sequels?
I mean, the seventh one, to be honest, I mean that one was canceled. They were making like a 7-part
Dude, I
something.
think you're right. I think you may be right, or maybe that was like Disney Infinity where
Oh,
like something
I
was
know
canceled.
I'm
But
right. I
no,
filed that game
Mr.
pretty hard.
Hamster, I'm not excited for a Skylander sequel. I don't. You know, see what you started, man. Now people are gonna troll
Oh,
me with Skylander stuff. Okay. Um. Yeah. This is an entertaining chat. I'm not gonna lie. Um. See, Cyberpunk 2077 should be awesome. CD Projekt Red is going to level up. That's what I'm expecting too, honestly. You said The Last of Us was boring, never bothered to finish. Oh, man, you got to finish it,
hang on, I
Robert.
know how to handle that. There we
No,
go.
no, wow. Nah, man, that wasn't cool. While I do agree that, while I don't agree with what they said, that was harsh, man. But go, Robert, go finish it. Okay, go finish The Last of Us. The ending was awesome. It'll make you think. Um, would I like a Metal Gear Solid collection for PlayStation 5? Absolutely, absolutely. That if Konami wanted to do anything to win any goodwill back, that's what they should do. Absolutely, that would be phenomenal. Um, so he says, "Let's go, Ben Studio." Yeah, I'm rooting for Ben Studio. I've been rooting for them, man. Days Gone was great, and I'm glad it was a huge. See, something that Sony's not talking about, and I don't know why, is how much of a commercial success Days Gone was. That game sold really well, and it definitely got a sequel greenlit for next gen. I don't know why they're not talking about it doing. I think unless like a game breaks records, that's when Sony talks about sales. But it did really good, and they're gonna get a sequel to that. So I'm with you there. Let's go, Ben Studio. Favorite Metal Gear Solid game? That's I just dropped my earpiece. Hold on, my earpiece fell out of my ear. Give me a second while I think about my favorite Metal Gear Solid game. I'm gonna have to say Metal Gear Solid 3. I want to say that. I want to say 2. I really liked 4 though. I did play 4. I'm thinking 3 though. I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite, honestly. Said Days Gone was a slow, boring game. It was a little bit slow. I don't think it was boring, but True Witty, 2 questions. Do you think Ghost of Tsushima will be like Dark Souls or Souls games, and would you want an urban rain game back from PS2 days? Well, PS2 days. That second question, I don't know what that is, so I can't answer that, but I can answer your first question. Do I think Ghost of Tsushima will be like Dark Souls? I want it to be in terms of like the way the combat feels, but I think it's going to be pretty animation-heavy combat, at least I'm assuming. I mean, we did see a glimpse of it, and it definitely looks different from anything Sucker Punch has done, but I don't know if it's going to have like that Souls feel. Like it makes me think of playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, where I fully expected that game to feel exactly like Dark Souls, which was maybe an unrealistic expectation, but then I realized that game is really animation heavy, and because of that, like, it definitely has that Dark Souls feel, but if Dark Souls had like really like heavy animations that you couldn't just like stop mid animation. So I don't know. I think Ghost of Tsushima is going to try to find a middle ground between being a really good like playing game, like it plays really well combat wise, but it's also going to try to be super cinematic and make it look good while you're doing it. So I think it will be animation heavy. Okay. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Star Wars is like Souls for casuals. Yeah, I can agree with that. It doesn't feel as good, though. I don't know. Like, the combat just doesn't feel as good. Canned animations are definitely the worst part of Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, I agree. Like, a Jedi Fallen Order, I'm, like, half and half with. Like, there's so many things I feel like it does great, and there's, like, other things where I'm like, I feel like this should be great, but it doesn't feel that great. Like, it doesn't feel as good as it should, but I really enjoy it. Really, it's a really good game. Like, I'm not trying to talk down on it all, because I am enjoying it, but why don't you lift anymore? I do lift, man. I lifted today. I lifted yesterday. Lifted my controller, man. Come on. No, but I do lift. I do. I go to the gym. Don't worry. Jedi Fallen Order is great, but it's got problems. Yeah. Any thoughts on Dying Light 2? I think Dying Light 2 looks like a great game. It's just unfortunate that it got delayed indefinitely. I mean, it was a game that was on my radar, but then once I found out it was delayed indefinitely, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop paying attention to this game for now because I don't know when it's coming out. I have no idea. Do you even lift, bro? I do lift. Do I still use my Xbox One X? To be honest, not really that often at all. No, I don't. Occasionally, but not really. When I find time to game, I'm usually gaming on PlayStation now. Come on, mate. You haven't lifted in a bit. How do I know? Because I'm a real life friend. Okay. And Brown Sugar told me. Okay. Well, that's a lie. All right, let's get that straight. That's a lie. I lift. I lifted today. Lords of the Fallen is a good Souls-like entry game. I actually played that game for a little bit. Didn't really dig it too much, honestly. I feel like Dark Souls ruins games for a lot of people, man. I know you're joking. Let's see. All right, Devil Child. Let's get some questions for Devil Child to answer.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, we'll do that, and then we'll end it. We'll get a few questions for
We'll
Devil
let
Child.
the introvert answer some questions.
Believe it or not, I'm an introvert as well. Dude, I'm more of an introvert than you are, I bet you.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
You're just not used to talking on, when people are listening. Well, when a lot of people, when there's an audience. Okay, do you lift?
Okay, why don't I lift? No, I just, I don't have time for that. And a gym membership, I'm not paying for that. That's crazy talk.
Dude, it's blasphemy on my end.
And I gotta push, X every time I want to be in this podcast. So I'll get my workout doing that.
Yeah.
I take a Super 2JZ over the R34.
Mr. Hamster's asking if you ever played The Crew 2, and if you think it's any good.
I didn't play the Crew 2 just because I didn't like the first one. I wasn't that into it. They, claimed to be the entire United States, and then it was kind of obviously shrunk down. They can't do the entire United States. But, I mean, it was still good, but the second one, they added boats and all that stuff, and just not into it.
Boats. Yeah, dude, I didn't pay attention to that game.
I mean, like, who wants to play a racing game? Like, oh, yeah, let me go race my yacht. Like, nobody wants to do that.
Go race my yacht. They really do that?
There's not yachts, but there's boats, yeah.
I just realized that the tweet I put out for my podcast this entire time, it was the one where we messed up in the beginning because it wasn't working. That's disappointing to find out.
Wait, what about it?
Nothing. Let's see. Alex Fitz says, "I got more muscle." What do you think about that, Devil Child?
I think he's talking to you on that one because I know he's not talking to me.
He's definitely not talking to me, man.
Yeah.
Because we know he's got more muscle here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Take your pick here, man. Before we end this, you got questions coming in.
I don't play Mario Kart. I'm just not. I mean, I don't really play Nintendo. Hang on.
This person says you're doing a great job.
Yeah, I know. Group C rally car, or not rally car, but just a Group C car. Probably like the Mazda 787B, just because the history with it and it being banned and everything. Pretty good car.
Talk more about Phil Spencer and Google and Amazon. I feel like I couldn't talk to him so much about that because I literally made like a 20-minute video. I said almost everything I had to say, but I had to mention it here in the podcast for sure. Before. So, let's see.
Yeah, the car was banned because it was too fast. I was just answering one of the.
Is that even a thing?
Well, I mean, it was something with it was too quick, and the way the motor was designed, I think it was like a loophole in the rules. It technically wasn't allowed.
All right.
Top 3 game franchises: Uncharted, Resident Evil, and probably The Last of Us, or probably like Half-Life, even though like I know that's not like PlayStation.
It doesn't have to be PlayStation, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
could have said, Crackdown.
No, there's
Gears of
definitely
War,
not going to be Crackdown.
Forza,
Nah.
All right, guys. Okay, we got one more here from Edgy Clementine. MBG could get big PS YouTuber guests like Mystic and Yang. Yeah, that'd be an interest, dude. I would be super interested to have either of them on. I would particularly be interested to have Yang on because he loves Metal Gear. In fact, that's how his channel started, I think, or that's how it got big, talking about Metal Gear Solid 5. I'd love to talk Metal Gear with him. That would be awesome. But sadly, Edgy Clementine, I don't think Yang would ever come on my podcast. Mystic, maybe. I don't know. I like Mystic. He has good content. It'd be interesting. In the future, maybe we could get some other guests. We'll have to see. But that's pretty much... Yeah, Seth says, I doubt Mystic would be interested. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's anything against me. At least I hope not. But I feel like if he was going to do a podcast, he would have done it by now. He has over like 300,000 subscribers. So I just don't think podcasts are his thing. But great content for sure. And then Mr. Hamster. Yeah, appreciate all your support tonight, guys. Really, really means a lot. Maybe it wasn't the best night to stream because it was Oscar night. I would like to keep it Sunday nights. At least where I'm at. But, yeah, so Mr. Hamster, you said great podcast. See y'all next week, MBG. All right, buddy. I'll catch you then. Appreciate you showing up and showing your support as usual. Really goes a long way here. And so, yeah, I guess something I didn't say throughout pretty much this entire podcast is, I I didn't tell people to like the video. So anybody who's still left, hit the like button on your way out. Really will help it out. But you have anything to say, Devil Child, before we go?
No, man. Hopefully I can be back next week and, talk some more Skylanders.
Yeah, man. Skylanders talk. I'm not looking forward to that. But you know what? That just might be what has to happen. So, all right, guys. Again, hit the like button on your way out. Appreciate all your support. I will catch you probably in future videos coming up this week, obviously, and we'll stream again next Sunday for the podcast. And real quick before we go here, Elios 24/7. Once again, Mr. Hamster is secretly Mr. Beast. That would be weird if that was true, and I'd be a little creeped out. And actually, one very last thing here before we go, because I've been saying it this entire time, and I still haven't done it. I need to give a shout out, like I promised, to this person, Jamie Slater. I apologize for missing your super chat on February 2nd on the last podcast we did, and you said, sorry, MBG, I've been an ass recently. Cool podcast, and I just want you to know it does not go unnoticed. Try to emphasize that here. So I made sure to get it in here at the end. I promised I would. And yeah, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this podcast, guys. I will catch you guys later. This is probably the longest outro ever, but yeah, I had fun. So I'll catch you guys next week, next Sunday. Press X podcast episode 3 is in the bag. So you guys take care.